Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve.
Love this. Yes. Just popping on and popping off.
Literally. Hey, how you doing? Let's hit record.
Let's go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Trying to Be Better podcast with Joel and Steve.
Hi, everybody.
My name is Joel.
And I'm Steve.
And this is a podcast.
It is a podcast.
One of many.
It's not much of one.
It is. I think it does qualify as a podcast.
It does technically qualify as a podcast, yes. I've been watching lots of old Letterman clips this week just on YouTube because, if I got 5 minutes to kill or something.
Yeah.
And he's just the master of, self-deprecation and
such a beautiful way to do it too.
Yeah,
he does it in a way that he did it in a way and still kind of does in a way that's like a brand or like a joke, and it doesn't feel depressing. It feels yeah.
I watched I don't know if I sent this to you guys or not, but I watched the first Stupid Pet Tricks installment,
nice.
Which was on quote the David Letterman show, which was before like the Late Show. I don't know if it was in Indianapolis or what, but it's like this local daytime variety show thing.
Yeah.
It's early 80s rific, and but it's Stupid Pet Tricks. It's just great.
And then he started doing stupid human tricks.
Even better. Yeah. My favorite one of those was when a guy had a Velcro suit on and he jumped on the trampoline under the wall of Velcro.
The best. Absolute best. And I remember seeing that. I was like super jealous. I'm like, that looks like the pinnacle of fun right there.
Right there. Yeah. If you're doing that, you're doing something right.
And didn't he do he did the human Cheerios or whatever? Like he got it. Didn't he make a huge bowl of Cheerios and like
that rings a bell? I don't remember.
Or I might be confusing that with Double Dare, maybe.
Different thing.
Yeah, very different thing. Mark Summers. Speaking of podcasts, Mark Summers was on Marin recently.
Oh, wait, why do I know that name? Why do I know
Mark Summers was the host of he was the host of Double Dare.
Oh,
and then he got.
I think that's a generational thing because I never really watched that.
Yeah, that was like mid to late 80s Nickelodeon Double Dare.
Yeah, okay, right.
Kids game show, and they'd get messy or whatever.
What was the show with the slime?
Yeah, they slime people on that. The show with the slime though was You Can't Do That on Television.
Is that right?
I recall them being sliming on that. Because anytime a character said they asked a question, and it was like kind of sketch comedy, little skits here and there. Yeah. And whenever like a character on there would say, "I don't know," they'd get slimed. And that's where the whole like Nickelodeon slime thing kind of took off, as I recall. Yeah.
So yeah, that's funny because again, me being approximately 10 years older than you, there's just things that are, more in your ageist wheelhouse.
So you're still in the Gen X.
I don't know. I was born in 71, so whatever that means.
Oh, you're a late boomer.
Yeah, well, no, my parents are solid boomers. Yeah.
I think that you would still be considered Gen X, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of early. I was an early adopter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of in that Zennial, like Gen X millennial shift, from like 78 to 82. And I usually think that that's all just hype bullshit, but like when I see the category of Zennial, I'm like, yeah, that's me, because my brother's definitely Gen X.
Sure.
And I kind of have that weird transition. Yeah. Speaking of podcasts, I want to do this before I forget. I was on another episode of Less Than 2000.
Really?
I did I did an episode maybe 2 year and a half ago, talking about Pearl Jam.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, my buddy. Yeah, it was, and I'm proud of that episode because Adam, my friend who co-hosts that show, he said that he wanted it to be the most downloaded because the one the one before that episode that was the most downloaded for them was the one on 80s hair butt rock. And I was like, if I'm going to talk about 90s grunge and Pearl Jam, it has to beat the butt rock episode. And it did like 3 or 4 times over.
Oh, wow. That's good. Mm-hmm.
So, they asked me back to talk about 90s Tool, but it kind of just became a overall like Tool-gasm, talking about all things Tool, about the band Tool. So
Maynard and Perfect Circle and
yeah, it kind of did go on the tangents of all of his bands, A Perfect Circle and Pussifer. But we tried to stick to Tool. And in preparation for that episode, I listened to the first 3 albums that were all released in the 90s again, like front to back, to kind of like, I haven't listened to those records in a long time.
How'd it go?
It was fucking awesome. Like,
right.
Especially the last album of the 90s for them, Anima. Like, I was shocked at how beautifully orchestrated and amazing that album is, and how ahead of its time it was, because if you listen to rock at that time, it was not that.
Right.
Their album that kind of was their first full album, Undertow, was kind of in that vein of heavy rock in the 90s, a la, Helmet or Rage Against the Machine, like that sort of stuff. But they definitely took one large step forward with Anima, and I listened to it and I was like, holy shit. And I was talking to our friend, our huge Tool fan friend, oh my God, Andrew. Sorry, Andrew. Last night about it, and we were talking about that album and how that does track, and he concurs that second full record, Anima, is kind of the gateway to the band that would become sort of these 14-minute epic prog rock opuses, and that's that album.
So are you saying I should maybe check that out?
I honestly think that you would dig it, but I would want to curate the experience pretty specifically for you, and I don't know that I would start you off where the band started off, to be honest.
Maybe you should start a Tool podcast so that I can listen to it while I'm driving.
Yeah, I could do that. There's not the huge library of content,
so it'd be a few episodes.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I would
see it. I got off onto the wrong foot with that whole situation. I don't know if I got off on the wrong foot, but the foot I got off, I was like, I turned on MTV and went, nope.
Yeah.
And that was it. I'm like, I'm not interested in the couple Tool videos I saw. I was like, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
I'm not.
We talked about that, like, especially the first few videos. It was, like the sober video and prison sex video. They were scared. They were just Adam Jones, like weird stop motion.
I don't need to see that.
It was dark and weird. It scared me. It would come on at like 11 o'clock and midnight on MTV. And I was like, no, I'm scared of that. And, but I will say that, and I talked about this on the Less Than 2000 podcast, but that their album Lateralis was the one that was super
I've listened to that. I like that album.
That was super pivotal to me when I got sober. I
remember you saying that.
I listened to that over and over and over. It was very helpful, and it's like one of those things where I kind of think the cosmic joke of Maynard there is that he, it's like pretty intense metal prog rock,
right?
Sounds really angry, but then you dive deeper into the lyrics, and it's some of the most positive messages you'll ever hear in music. About self-empowerment, self-actualization.
Well, it's the polar opposite of the Dead. Really, really happy music with really desolate.
Totally. I mean, Tool can go there. Don't get me wrong, but on the ones that I think are kind of at the heartbeat of who they are, like you listen to the lyrics and it's really empowering and really uplifting and spiritually like enlightening, So, I mean, if you're going to dive back into, Enema's great. You should check it out. You should definitely check out the song Third Eye. But their most recent record, Fear Inoculum, is, you dig Rush. We went and saw Rush together.
Correct.
It's like precision raw metal. It's like, and it's not laborious. It's really gorgeous, but if you really just like sit with that shit, it's like clinically precise and good and amazing.
Okay.
10,000 Days is a great album too. I think you'd like their album or their song on that, Right In Two, and you check out the lyrics on that. It's a great comment on, humans being divided from each other and the problem with that. So that's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents. It is a long song. It's like 10, it's 11-minute song. I highly recommend it. That's my spiel on Tool. So they gave a shout out to our podcast on that episode.
Oh,
so
nice.
I owe it to them to say check out their podcast. They're two really cool
less
guys.
Than 2,000, yeah, it's entertaining.
Less than 2,000, and they're great. I was I
like that concept.
Yeah, they kind of found they have a niche. They have a certain era of time that they can go all the way down the rabbit hole with, from pop music to video games to movies to fashion to sneakers to sports figures.
I like their Christmas Vacation episode. It was good.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're a good time.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of good times, your wife had a birthday party yesterday.
Yeah, my wife Kirsten, past guest and amazing partner of mine, turned 40 years old yesterday.
That was such a great party.
It really was. I'm glad you guys came through.
Obviously it was nice to be there to honor my friend Kirsten's 40th trip around the sun, but just the conglomeration, the gathering of people. Like, I had just some of the best conversations, and it was just, and saw some people I hadn't seen, in the flesh in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, yeah, we used to hang out,
Yeah.
And this is why we used to hang out, because it was fun and we dug, It's really cool.
I think that's going to be, I can't wait for her to listen to this, or I'll tell her, like, that's going to mean the world to her. Cause we were talking about the idea. She's like, yeah, you just need, that's what a party is. She's like, it was my birthday party, but I don't think I ever really got to connect and drop in with a bunch of people. But she said, like, she saw that happening, like I had a great conversation with Andrew, and I talked to my younger sister Jordan for a good chunk of time, and got to just sort of sit and drink coffee with my mom, and then like folks like Aaron and folks from Kirsten's high school days that I know I've met, but I didn't really get. Yeah, it was really cool. It was a really cool time. I'm glad you guys came through, and it was really great to celebrate her in that way.
Yeah, well,
she planned that. She planned that whole thing. She had to plan her own birthday party because she knows that her husband is terrible at planning.
Yeah,
parties.
But you killed it on social media, man.
Okay.
I mean, you all the good pictures and the nice words, and really that's what matters.
That's all. I mean, that's the hallmark greeting card of our time. Is if you can post really well about
really kind of heartfelt and especially effectively curated photos that Facebook will find for you.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, my phone found them for me. My iPhone, my photo app. She just clicked her picture and they found recent photos of her. So,
oh, that's nice.
Thanks, Apple. Today's podcast is brought to you by Apple Computers and the metaverse
and the slave labor that makes them,
and the child labor, the small fingers.
Right, that's right.
That make our devices.
I'm not trying to make light of that situation,
dude. It's so fucking true. That's the thing. Like. Yeah.
No, this just went sideways really quick.
It really did.
Well, I'm amazed that we got this happening at all, since you were so eager to do it last night.
Shut the fuck! Don't make, dude. You're projecting that. I just want to take a second.
Now I'm just messing with you.
Okay, so last week we weren't able to meet and podcast because
last night Joel's like, gosh, I don't know. I'm going to Arizona. I have to pack.
And if you go back a few episodes, that's an event for me. That's a traumatic, stressful event for me.
That's why you need this, is to get centered and harassed a little bit.
Harassed, because that's going to help. Thank you for that.
You're laughing.
I am. I'm more chill about this particular. Also, because like our flight doesn't leave until later in the day.
Oh yeah.
So helps a ton when you're not frantically
Joel,
packing.
Thank you for taking the time to come on and do this. I really appreciate it. And I'm not even being a dick. Maybe a little, but I really mean it though.
I am glad we're doing this because this is now, we've done this for a couple years.
Yeah.
There's a rhythm to this in my week. And it did feel weird last week. And like I had to work through the weekend because of work stuff, but it was one of those things where I felt the absence of it, you know?
Yeah, me too.
So yes, no, I'm glad we're doing this. And all my laundry's done. It'll take me an hour tops to pack.
See, there you go.
Fine. We even have a dear friend who, I think this is the earmark of a real one, right? A real one in your life is if they offer, like if you're saying I'm got our flight leaves from Omaha, blah, blah, blah time that day. And they say, oh, would you like a ride? When you don't have to ask and they just offer it.
Yeah, I'm not that good of a friend. Sorry.
No, you're not. You're shit. No, I mean, I love you, but you're not. I mean, I get it, you know?
Yeah.
But our friend Kenzie is like, I'll give you a ride.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
And
I think she's going to pick us up too, which is even more amazing.
That's amazing. You should buy her dinner at like Modern Love or something.
That's a great idea.
See?
I think we'll do that.
I think my Rauner yard sign is getting dropped off right now.
Yeah, I saw you looking out the window. I didn't know.
Bob Rauner for LPS Board of Education. So I'm putting a yard sign in my yard. I'm putting one of his yard signs in my yard.
You're putting your yard sign in his yard?
No, I'm putting his yard sign in my yard.
You're just putting a print of your face in his yard. I don't understand how that gets in
vote for Steve.
A vote for Steve is a vote for Ron. Rob?
No,
are you got the right
Bob
guy?
Rauner. I think so. I hope so. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Are you? I would double check that.
This is like the worst endorsement ever.
Yeah, it's really bad. Also, if this guy's like a Nazi,
he's not.
Okay, good.
I'll confirm, but Partnership for a Healthy Lincoln. He does the YouTube videos that have actually been a voice of reason in a sea of insane bullshit for a couple of years. He's a good dude.
His were the most centered,
yes,
and truthful and straight shooting information throughout that whole nightmare.
Yes.
When are all these elections, local elections?
Oh, come on,
Steve.
Coming up. I filled out a thing to mail in I'll be getting my mail-in ballot.
There you go. Vote early and often.
Please. It's I don't know.
It's coming up. It's fine.
It's coming up.
I'm not. This isn't a test. I love you.
You're doing great. Thanks, Joel. Now I have to extended hours deadline to register. Voting early voting in office begins April 17th.
Oh, so we got some time.
Yeah, a little time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We got to get our ducks in a box.
Ducks in a box.
Yeah, ducks in a box. That's what we say at our job because somebody accidentally sort of made that. They were trying to say we need to get our ducks in a row, but that they said ducks in a box, and I made the gesture of just shooting ducks in a box, and now at work, that's our saying for we just get our ducks in a box. It's like shooting ducks in a box.
Oh my gosh.
Ducks in a box, baby. I'm going to get my ducks in a box for this trip. I'm going to Arizona today. I've never been to Arizona.
I haven't either, actually.
I'm going where the climate suits my clothes, man.
Word.
Yeah. I'm going to okay, this is a 40th birthday trip for Kirsten because she wanted to go somewhere warm. We didn't get to do Florida because of that whole shit show.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So we're like, well, where's warm in March? And Arizona is warm in March. Tucson is warm in March. So
is that where you're going? Tucson?
Tucson, yeah. But we're gonna. I mean, the real reason, and between you and me, Cubs spring training is in Mesa. So I am going to Cubs spring training. I'm going to a game on Tuesday. It's been like kind of a bucket list to go to spring training. I'm really stoked.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Will your lovely wife, who's on her birthday trip, be joining you?
Reluctantly, yeah. When I told her, I said I got tickets like right behind home plate for spring training. She just sent me sports with an exclamation point.
Kirsten, if I had a hat on, I'd tip it to you right now. Although, truth be told, I'd totally be there if I was there.
I mean, there'd be hot dogs, there's food, there's baseball. Yeah. You sit there.
It's like a nice day in the park.
It's a nice day in the park.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm conflicted about, like, they're making a lot of rule changes that some of them are going to be implemented this year, of like really trying to speed the game up, which I get. But at the same time, I'm like,
they're needing to up, like, viewers' eyeballs or looking elsewhere for entertainment.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you can, the action to commercial ratio in football versus baseball is miles apart.
Well, Formula One's done the same thing over the last few years.
How so?
Implemented things like, there's a deal called DRS, which don't ask me what it stands for, but basically what it means is you can open up the rear spoiler at certain times under very certain conditions to give you a little extra boost of speed to get around the car in front of you down a straightaway.
The new episodes of that documentary, Drive to Survive are out, and they were talking about, they just sort of rattled off the DRS thing, but they didn't really explain what it was, and so I was confused.
That's what it's literally just opening up the rear spoiler for less aerodynamic drag, so that down a straightaway you get a little boost of speed.
But it's regulated. You can't just
very much so. Yeah, there are certain zones. They're like, the straightaways have to be so long. You have to be within, I don't know exactly what it is, but little less than a second behind the car in front of you. It can't happen under certain circumstances. So there's like a DRS, I don't know, judge. And let's say, like, okay, DRS is enabled. You can use that now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's literally just to give a little more pizzazz to the proceedings.
But I don't know, man. Those guys are going 200 plus miles an hour. Like, how is that? That's not boring. I mean,
well, here's the thing though, is that because I binge watched all of the last season of Drive to Survive. Mm-hmm. And it's like baseball. At the surface, you're like, it's just cars driving around. But you start to get into the politics and the machinations and the backstabbing, and it's all very interesting. It's also very much, rich boys, obscenely rich boys,
obscenely
rich people. So it's kind of hard to have sympathy for any of them beyond, the drama of it all.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, last year, Red Bull walked away with everything. They had the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, the mid-pack fight. And this year, during practice, the first Grand Prix was last weekend. And during practice, Red Bull was frankly kind of underwhelming. And I'm like, they're just pulling punches. Like, they're not out pushing it because they know they don't have to. And sure as shit, during the race, Max Verstappen, who won everything last year by a landslide, he just creamed everybody, and the other Red Bull car was a second.
And that's the crazy thing too, is that, the only reference point I have for Formula One is that Drive to Survive documentary. And the first few seasons, they didn't even really talk to Alexander Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, motherfucker. Lewis Hamilton, I'm a theater person. Okay. Give me a break.
Right.
Lewis Hamilton, they didn't even really talk to him in Mercedes because they were at the top and weren't going anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
But this last season, they covered the previous season. It's like,
Mercedes,
they're talking to him a lot more because he's not the top.
Mercedes was world champion for 7 years running.
It's wild.
And now they're like third, maybe. Which,
weird.
Again, for people, that's a lot of money difference, but it's also, there's a big difference in the F1 universe between the top 3 teams and everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, you really want to be in the top 3 to be anything.
Yeah. Right. That's where the money's at.
That's true with everything else too, but that's just, for to be at the top of the world for 7 years and then to be third stings a little bit.
I would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the point though about trying to make baseball specifically more I mean, you can only move the
what
needle.
Are they going to do? Let them hip check people?
There's like,
are they going to put an octagon in the middle of the outfield? And
no, it's all about time. It's like pitcher's time, how much time they can fuck around on the mound.
Oh, sure.
How much time a batter can take.
You have 4.7 seconds to scratch yourself on the mound.
Exactly. And they want to cut that down. So they're looking at, time between pitches and how many timeouts the batter can take. What's that?
There's going to be a pitch clock behind home plate.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know if there's going to be a clock, but it's going to be timed. I mean, I think that's the deal.
Right behind the catcher, there's a clock that the pitcher can see that's counting down, and when it's 0, that's a ball or a strike.
I don't know how they're going to quantify that, or how anybody would.
Be a base.
Yeah,
like if it's down, then that's a base.
I don't know how they're going to actually regulate it, but I think the new thing is that the batter, because they were regulating. I think they implemented in the last few years. They regulated the amount of time between pitches, so that pitchers had to, throw. They couldn't stall. They couldn't look around forever. They didn't. They could reset
for people to try to steal bases.
Right. So they implemented that, but then the pitchers were under duress, and I could have this wrong, but I think that now it was like, okay, so we're regulating the pitchers, but the batters can fuck around all they want and throw the pitchers out of their rhythm. Once they see that they have to get a pitch in, they start their little routine, which is really important for them to get their accuracy right.
Right.
And then the batter can step out of the box, scratch himself, fuck with them. You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
And so I think they're trying to combat that, but I think that also it takes away the space of the game. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just old man Egger saying they're changing baseball and America's falling apart.
Well, that's true.
That's true. But I want, I don't need my baseball game to be
thing. Can you just leave one thing alone?
Right. I don't need my baseball game to be under 3 hours.
But apparently some people do.
My wife would probably appreciate that. But
would she care? Would she like it more if it was a half hour?
I doubt it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it needs to be
still sports ball.
3.5 hours. That's
Although
right.
I would like to just take a moment and acknowledge that I actually was involved in a sports conversation and made valid
You did. Yes, you did. If I had an applause button, I'd press it.
I have a rudimentary understanding of the game of baseball and some of the rules.
You have a very skilled understanding of the rules of Formula One. Like in a short amount of time, you've gotten your shit together with that. You've gotten your ducks in a box on Formula One.
It's my current obsession. It'll fade.
I don't know, man.
We'll see. It's a guilty pleasure. It's definitely a guilty pleasure.
There are worse guilty pleasures, Steve.
I know. But I mean, most of those races, not most, but probably half of them take places in countries that have bigger problems than we do when it comes to human rights violations and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like Bahrain, when they start the season, and don't they start the season in Bahrain?
Bahrain, yeah.
It's like,
and the UAE, and it's it's a little tricky there.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But what? So how many Formula One races are in the United States?
I think in the season.
Yeah,
like 23. I think maybe not
in
that.
The U.S. though.
Oh, how many? 2, I think, and they're both in Texas. No, Miami and Texas. Miami and Austin.
And Austin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Vegas this year. There's one in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that back to point A, which is it's all a rich kid's game. I mean, some of the tickets for that are like $5,000. Rooms overlooking the strip. Thousands of dollars a night. I mean, just
is that going to be a street? Is that going to be a street race? They're going to make a
down the strip. Cool. I think
that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be amazing. It'll be a hell of a weekend. You fella could have a pretty good weekend in Vegas with all that.
Yikes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool to see. I've never been to like a large scale auto race at all. I've never been to NASCAR. I really don't have a huge desire for NASCAR.
I have no desire to go to NASCAR.
I would like to go. I mean, I think I mentioned
the Austin Grand Prix.
I'd like to go to the Indy 500.
Sure. Yeah.
Even if that means it's a big, pretty much oval track, but I think it'd be cool to see.
Different thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Indy 500.
But yeah, even the Austin one it's pretty expensive just to get in the door,
Yeah. It's for rich people.
Very much so, yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
You probably have a better experience watching it on TV anyway.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely like you go for the weekend,
Oh,
because there's all kinds of ancillary parties and gatherings and,
appearances by drivers and
the whole thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Clubs, it's a reason to just go party,
Sounds exhausting.
Sounds all right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go see some baseball. We're gonna go do some hiking. I'm stoked. Yeah. Oh fuck! How did the concert go?
Right. It was amazing. It was really great, actually. Mozart's Requiem. Yeah, the pious choirs, various configurations sang, and then we all sang Mozart's Requiem, or most of it, not all of it. But I mean, at the end there was round numbers, 150 voices.
Wow, that's a big choir.
I mean, it was loud and it was intense and it was cool. And I actually, I had to crash course myself in singing Latin 16th note runs, 16th note runs in Latin at a pretty good clip. And I held my own, I was singing mostly with people that actually do that more often than not,
Yeah.
And I hadn't done it in forever, decades. But yeah, I held my own and my voice is still weirdly okay. When I use it properly, which I don't in my rock and roll gig, know. But I'm a pretty solid baritone, and that came back pretty quickly. And some of the finer technical details I was, relearning on the fly, but like rolled R's and
some
of the Latin pronunciations. But I met some people and it was fine. I've definitely felt a little fish out of water-ish because, my relationship with the Catholic Church is complicated,
Right.
And it's very much a Catholic choir. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But, the director, I've said this before, his name's Todd Creer. He's amazing. The guy's amazing. Mm-hmm. He's very committed to what he does. He's funny. He's just very talented. He runs a very tight, it's hard to, to wrangle 150 people and to get their attention, to get them all say, you know what I'm saying?
I have a panic attack thinking about directing a cast of more than 7 people.
Yeah, no. And this is like 100 high school kids.
Fuck.
Right. And I swear, man, he literally can just go, psst, and they all turn and face him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
I do.
That's the expectation.
Yeah.
And those rehearsals, we had 2 rehearsals. They were 3 hours long each. And they didn't run like a Swiss watch, but pretty damn close.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Because it has to be that way.
Right.
It has
you
to
can't
be
get anything done. You wouldn't get anything done.
Yep. And the other choral instructor, their name is Shani Sorensen. She's really great too, and has this beautiful soprano voice. But yeah, it was awesome, man. I'm gonna try out for the full version of the thing.
That's cool.
And see how that goes, because again, I really enjoy singing in those kinds of situations, turns out. And it's just really unique, and it's really moving. Mm-hmm. It's very powerful,
I recall having great, I did choir. The little, performing arts time I had at Ord High School, there wasn't a lot, right? Like we had one act season in the fall, and then I did speech one year and I didn't love it, and then the other time I was in music. That was kind of it. Our theater program wasn't really a program at all,
right?
But thank God for Dave Hastings, who kind of made it a good thing. But my time in choir, I loved it as much as I was kind of a punk.
Right.
Miss Johnson, if you're listening, I owe you an amends, by the way.
She knows.
She let it go. I didn't.
Right.
But yeah, I really love that. When we were doing difficult material and singing in unison and trying to breathe at the same time and trying to, like, when harmonies actually worked, it's like, it's pretty fucking spiritual. It's really cool.
100%. Yeah, it's very, I mean, and when we were, singing the big crescendos, it was loud.
Yeah. 150 people. That's loud.
Loud. Yeah. And very powerful. And I don't know if I've even talked about this, but when when I say, like, I'm not kidding when I say I haven't sang Latin in decades. Before my voice changed, I was in a boys choir that I don't think exists anymore. It was called Pueri Cantores, and my mom found it. Thanks, Mom. That was actually really great. But I don't. The woman who directed it, I don't know the history of her, how it started. It's all long gone now. But I did that for, I think, 2 years, singing Latin, basically, and some other things, but mostly Latin. Like the Italian, literally the castrati, which were, I mean, in the bad old days, they castrated guys so their voices wouldn't change, so they could keep singing.
Eunuchs, right? Am I using that right?
I think so. Yeah, but the castrati were guys that were castrated so their voices wouldn't change. That obviously did not happen to me, because kind of times have changed a little bit. But
hey, man, I don't know what's going on down there. That's not obvious to me at all. I guess, well, you've had children.
Right. So. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no. Plus, my voice was a little deeper. I was not singing baritone in Pueri Cantores.
I don't want to talk about castration anymore, please.
Simple, man. You just take a rubber band and eventually it just falls off.
God damn it. I'm glad you're gonna join that choir, Steve.
Well, I don't know that I am. I'm gonna audition.
Oh, you have to audition, huh?
Oh yeah, this was kind of a come one. In fact, the choir that I sang in it has been kind of a volunteer deal, but Todd Creer wants to take it to the next level and make it less volunteer and more formal, and maybe even do some paid gigs and that kind of thing.
Yeah, right on.
So it's you have to audition.
Yeah.
So and we sang the audition piece at this concert last weekend. So and it went okay for me. It's kind of tricky harmony wise, but I think I can pull it together. We'll see.
I'm sure
and if I don't make it in, then fine. Then that's the call. Because I have had like a not exactly a conundrum, but like it's very, like he says in the like kind of invite email, like this is an unapologetically Catholic choir.
Oh, making it real clear.
Yeah, I don't have both feet in that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, there are some things that I like, and there's some things that I really don't like.
But there's other choirs, right? Like there's like,
well, that's the thing. Is like, are there? Where else?
There's other Lincoln choirs that are audition based. Like I know there's one. God damn it, Aben Music, is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think they're
in fact, I think one of my coworkers does that. Now that you mention it,
they're loosely affiliated with First Plymouth. Maybe I know Plymouth. They perform there a lot, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's interesting.
So
yeah, I don't know. That's that's just that was the opportunity that was put in front of me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, fuck it, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
Right. 25 years.
I know, right? That's crazy.
Totally. I remember being underwhelmed by that movie at first.
I remember my ex-girlfriend Cody and a couple of her friends quoting it a lot, right? And I remember thinking like, this is annoying. Now I know what it feels like to be around the people that quoted the Holy Grail a lot.
Monty Python, yeah.
And you're like, I don't want.
Oh God, shut up.
Yeah, just stop.
If you say knee one more time, I'm gonna punch you. Or yeah.
And you know what? You know what actually hooked me into that movie was when I got to grad school. Our first year in our acting class, they kind of introduced some sort of fundamental stuff through the lens of film noir and the acting and stuff in film noir, like very stoic, Humphrey Bogart, stoic characters, to find that stillness, all that shit, right? And so we started doing all this research on like, what is noir? What is LA noir? And somebody brought up in the class, like, wouldn't The Big Lebowski be considered LA noir? And it's kind of anti-noir because, he's not, Jeff Lebowski's really not a detective, but he goes on he goes on the stock journey of what somebody in a noir film goes on.
Sure.
Something happens, there's a dame involved, he starts asking questions, random people. He gets beat up. He gets like, you get put unconscious. You get wrapped up in it, and then, you find this rabbit hole of the underbelly of LA at night. I mean, it's a noir.
You're not wrong.
That's when I really appreciate.
That's correct. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's when I really kind of fell in love with that. I remember watching that with Armando McLean. We'd sit there was like this film library at Cal Arts, and you could just go watch whatever they had. And we were like, let's just one afternoon, we're like, I mean,
fuck it, dude.
It's research, right? Let's watch The Big Lebowski together. So we did, and then we just like that. We bonded over that movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people have bonded over that movie, actually,
in a lot of ways.
So speaking of Humphrey Bogart, this last week I watched Casablanca for the first time.
Oh, wow.
It was so good.
It's fucking real good, huh?
It's so good. I just love that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite movie of his is The Maltese Falcon.
I haven't seen that.
It's good. But
there's the classic lines.
Yep.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Beautiful friendship.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I knew that was from Casablanca, but to have it in context, like, no, that's why people say that.
Yeah. Oh, him and the African Queen too.
So you're saying
have you seen that? Have you seen the African Queen with Catherine? Oh yeah,
Catherine Hepburn,
and Humphrey Bogart. Yep.
Okay,
highly recommend that movie.
All right.
That's yeah.
That's been in my Plex server for years. I don't know how long, really long time, more than 10 years, and I just haven't watched it.
It's good. I think I don't know. I like him as sort of a rough and tumble and sweaty, grimy, boat captain with Katharine Hepburn.
Okay.
He's just.
That sounds like Jewel of the Nile.
It is. It totally is. It's like the Jewel of the Nile straight up stole from that 100%. That whole trope. I mean, they made it their own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is straight from the African Queen.
Okay.
Yeah. Super
Not
good.
Caribbean Queen, the Billy Ocean song.
No, but I do love that song, man.
What's up with Sunglasses at Night? Where did that come from?
So, I have curated over the last several years. Once I made my hardcore commitment to Spotify a few years ago, I started making a playlist that I call Faves. It's the Faves playlist.
Yeah.
My faves.
I have one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's my faves. And it is like 800 songs long at this point.
Wow.
And it's just random shit. Everything from my favorite Tool songs, Pearl Jam, whatever. And then like random nostalgic shit. And so there's a lot of like really weird 80s pop songs in there, and like, yacht rock shit, a lot of Hall & Oates, just random shit. And then like the other day I was like, this last couple of weeks have been nuts with work. And I was walking to class, and a guilty pleasure song of mine, Ariana Grande's Into You, came on, and so it's like this playlist that it's grown so random that you don't know what's going to come up. Anyway, I was listening to it, and Sunglasses at Night came on, and I fucking turned that shit up so loud.
11.
I turned it up to 11, and I was rocking back from Crete with Sunglasses. I'm on spring break, baby.
Yeah,
I just felt fucking
it.
cool as shit. And I was like, I'm going to throw a wrench in the Drifting and Dreaming text thread and say, fucking Sunglasses at Night.
Boom. So speaking of, I love Miley Cyrus's new album.
Yeah. So that's cool. I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole.
Summer Vacation. And I don't know, I saw a blurb about it or something. Oh, Rolling Stone. I just saw a Rolling Stone headline.
Yeah.
Said, it's pretty good.
Saw the same thing.
And I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'm driving home from work, got a half hour, I'll put it on, Yeah. And it's pretty damn good.
That's so the critics are saying that. I read that. I probably read the same thing. And they're like, this is the culmination of where we always thought she would end. Like this is her.
And not that I've ever given a fig about Miley Cyrus,
Right.
not since the Wrecking Ball thing or whatever, you know, or Hannah Montana or any of that. I'm like, I don't. But at the same time, you know, after following from a distance like the travails of Britney Spears and all of that shit, and to see Miley really come into her own and not, I mean, she's obviously still just a total sex bomb, but that's not like, she's not doing that out of like some sort of, it's from a better place.
It's not a gratuitous, it doesn't feel, she's owning that rather than it feels like what happened to Kesha early on with like being exploited as an object or something.
I mean, like, you know, I mean, her dad, Miley's dad is Billy Ray Cyrus.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, I mean, my whole, like, for the Wrecking Ball, like, geez, Dad, you're really kind of pimping your kid out there a little bit, aren't you? You know? Like,
yeah.
I don't obviously know the details of that situation, but that was my take on it.
Right.
And so, I mean, obviously, it's not really my pop music isn't my bag, baby, you know?
But when it's good, but here's the thing: when a pop song is good, it's good. You listen to fucking Sunglasses at Night, that shit is good.
Love it. Yes. And so so I'm like, okay, let's see what this album is. And like the songs are great. She sounds great. And there's some actually like interesting instrumentation. You know what I'm saying? Like the songs are kind of they cover a wide stylistic range, and somehow her voice manages to work in all of them. And
she's got a fucking great voice.
It's great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have a similar affinity, and I'll listen to that album because I appreciate a pop star sort of evolving in a lot of cool ways. Like
that
Madonna.
Was my point, is that it's like, oh, this is really like good for her.
Yeah.
Like
I had that really same experience with Kesha, because I really loved the sort of, you know, Kesha brushing her teeth with whiskey party shit. You know, I was like, oh, this is just irreverent and bacchant, and I love it. Then she had that whole thing with her manager, and he was fucking abusive to her, and then she got out of that. I don't know that story. Dude, it's fucked up. And then she had this, like, the last couple albums of her have been like really powerful like she's owning her experience and is out from under the thumb of this abusive fuck shit ass guy. And it's like, yeah, like a pop star that can kind of evolve past all that in a really cool way. Because we never got to see Britney Spears do that. I mean, I think we got to see Christina Aguilera do that.
Yeah, she's a little bit, yeah.
Celebrity crush of mine. Just make that clear.
Right.
But Britney, that whole dude,
shit show.
It sucks. That's sad.
Well,
I mean,
that's like the Beach Boys level dysfunction.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. And like never having her own agency as an artist.
That's the part that's sad. It's sad.
Super sad.
And that's the Elvis syndrome, basically.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been listening. I'm still listening to that 500 Songs podcast, and we're just starting to get into Elvis. And he does kind of an episode on Colonel Tom Parker, who was just flat out evil incarnate.
Yeah.
And it was really like to look to see like kind of how Elvis Presley came into the business, and he was a talented guy that was actually kind of pure of heart, weirdly, you know, and all he wanted to do was make money so he could buy his mama a new house.
Right.
And that's literally why he started singing.
Yeah.
You know, and to have, you know, to look at the caricature of himself that he didn't have any control. He had some control, but not really, especially towards the end.
That's an interesting parallel too, because but now you sprinkle in the all present watching of social media, and you know, during the pandemic when Britney had nowhere to perform, she just took to Instagram, and everybody watched like, oh, this is what happens when you have somebody who has been completely controlled and oppressed by her version of the Colonel.
Yeah.
And now the only place she feels like she can actually have any control is on social media. But it was kind of like, it was
little cringy.
It was hard. It was like, Kirsten and I, you know, full lockdown, sitting on the couch. She'd be like, I don't think Britney Spears is okay. And we're like, I don't think she is either. And and then you get the whole backstory of that. What is that called? The
Stockholm syndrome?
No, it's like, the whole thing of her being essentially like she has no control over her money. Conservatorship. It's like, fuck, dude, she signed away her life, her kids, her everything. Mm-hmm. And she's never known what it's like to, like, you know,
be your own person,
fuck it up for herself, not have any, you know, and it's like, she's a fucking grown ass woman, dude. That's just so hard. And then, yeah, free Britney, dude. Free Britney.
There you go. Well, I think on that note,
free Britney.
I should free Joel to go pack.
I got to pack, man.
You got to pack. Fine. Well, I'm glad we did this.
I am too. Keep your get your ducks in a box, everybody.
Get your ducks in a box.
Get your ducks in a box.
Be where your beak is.
Oh, we haven't said that in a while.
I thought about it the other day. I was hanging out with Peggy and I got centered.
Be where your beak is.
Be where your beak is. Yep.
Meditate on your chickens.
It's good times.
If you see a hot dog, grab me one.
Grab me 100%. All right, man. Safe travels. Love you.
All right. Love you too.
Yep.
Well, I've been a drag racer on LSD. I rode bare-assed on top of the Sphinx. I even had a gorilla on the slopes of Kismet. And man, that was fun for a while, you bet. But bikini girls with machine guns. Bikini girls with machine guns. Oh, this stuff will kill you. It's loaded with fun. Bikini girls with machine guns. Well, I savored many foreign kinds of delicacies, intoxicated till I can't tell what the hell I can see, and all the violence and liquor within close reach. But all bars, pills, and freeways lead me back to the beach and bikini girls with machine guns. Bikini girls with machine guns. Oh, this stuff will kill ya. It's loaded with fun. It's bikini girls with machine guns. Well, they say that virtue is its own reward, but when that serve comes in, I'm gonna get my board. I got my own ideas about the righteous kick. You can keep the reward, I just as soon stay sick. Bikini girls with machine guns. Bikini girls with machine guns. Oh, this stuff will kill ya. It's loaded with fun. Bikini girls with machine guns. Bikini girls with bikini girls with bikini girls with machine guns. 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 Oh, this stuff I'll tell ya, it's loaded with fun. Bikini girls with machine guns.
Don't forget, toot your hooter.